Since the dawn of humanity, there has been something mysterious and profoundly spiritual connecting our existence to the heavenly realm. Something so subtle yet so present that people throughout history have reported extraordinary encounters with beings not of this world, sent directly from the heavens to guide, protect and inspire. These encounters, experienced by saints and ordinary people alike, are powerful testimonies of the invisible connection between heaven and earth. Today, we will dive deeply into true and inspiring accounts, stories that go beyond the ordinary and reach the divine essence that lives within each of us. Have you ever stopped to reflect on the life of St. Francis of Assisi, a young man initially consumed by the pleasures and vanities of the world? His life changed completely on a quiet and seemingly ordinary night when a sweet and clear voice echoed in his ears saying, "Francis, rebuild my church." Initially driven by a literal interpretation, he began restoring a ruined chapel. But soon he understood that his mission was much broader and spiritual. Francis gave up everything, embracing radical simplicity, unconditional love for the poor, and a profound devotion to God. That angelic voice not only transformed one man, but created a wave of compassion and humility that still resonates today. Another powerful example is that of Saint Catherine Labour, a young nun who had an astonishing experience. One night, while she was in prayer in the convent chapel, the Virgin Mary appeared before her, radiant in beauty and surrounded by heavenly light. Mary revealed an important message and requested the creation of a special medal, now known as the Miraculous Medal. This mystical encounter not only changed Catherine's life, but also spread blessings and miracles across the world, strengthening the faith of millions. We also have the lesser-known but equally profound story of Saint Expeditus. In moments of doubt and inner warfare, it is said that he had a direct encounter with an angel who encouraged him to abandon indecision and embrace the Christian faith immediately, becoming one of the greatest examples of conversion and courage in church history. Today he is known as the patron saint of urgent causes and difficult decisions. His example reminds us that God sends his messengers to give us clarity and strength when we need it most. There are also the accounts of St. John Bosco, who often claimed to see his guardian angel in the form of a large protective dog that would appear whenever he was in danger. This invisible guide saved him multiple times from ambushes and persecution during his missions with homeless youth. John Bosco never doubted that this dog was an angelic manifestation, sent to protect him as he fulfilled his divine mission. These are just a few of the countless stories that reveal how heaven directly intervenes in our lives. There are many more surprising experiences that show us how close the divine truly is, working with gentleness and power behind the scenes of our existence. And among these many stories, we cannot fail to mention that of St. Joan of Arc, a young French peasant girl, uneducated, without influence, but with a faith so unshakable that she changed the history of an entire nation. From a very young age, Joan claimed to hear voices of saints and angels who instructed her, protected her, and guided her decisions. Not only did she believe in these messages, but she obeyed with admirable courage, leading armies and liberating cities, never failing to acknowledge that all of it came from above. Her conviction and obedience to God's voice made her a martyr, but also an eternal symbol of faith guided by heaven's messengers. Like her, St. Gemma Galgani also experienced the spiritual world intensely. Since childhood, she claimed to see her guardian angel who accompanied her everywhere. In moments of suffering and temptation, the angel would appear beside her, guiding her with sweet words, encouraging her to remain firm in her faith. Gemma received frequent visits from Christ himself, from the Virgin Mary, and on certain occasions from angels who brought her comfort. Her experiences were so profound that even though she was misunderstood by many in her time, she never gave in to doubt. And what about Saint Michael the Archangel, the leader of the heavenly hosts, who appeared multiple times throughout church history? One of the most impressive episodes was the apparition at Mount Gargano in Italy, where a cave became a place of pilgrimage after St. Michael's manifestation. He not only appeared, but consecrated that place with his presence as a spiritual refuge, where to this day thousands of faithful report healings, visions, and conversions. St. Michael is not only a symbol of spiritual warfare, but a messenger of hope and God's victory over all evil. Can you see how all these stories from different times and contexts intertwine with the same truth? That heaven never abandons us. That even amid suffering, war, loneliness or doubt, there exists an invisible, silent and loving force that acts, touches, sends signs, comforts and walks alongside us. If you feel this presence, if you've experienced something inexplicable, or if any of these stories stirred something in your heart, write to us in the comments. Let's build this space of sharing and faith together. Take a moment to subscribe to the channel too, because we have many more testimonies like these that will strengthen your journey and warm your soul. If you made it this far, it's because your soul thirsts for God, and I assure you, He is already revealing Himself to you. In more recent times, even with the advancement of science and technology, reports of encounters with angels and mystical experiences continue to emerge, challenging the limits of reason and deeply touching the human heart. In 1981, in the small town of Medjugorje in Bosnia-Herzegovina, 6 young people claimed to have seen the Virgin Mary. Since then, millions of pilgrims from around the world have visited the site in search of peace, healing and conversion. Among the reported phenomena are mysterious lights, unexplainable healings, and most importantly, a profound spiritual transformation in the hearts of those who arrive there with sincere faith. Many recount seeing angels or feeling their presence while praying in that sacred place. Pope John Paul II, now a saint, also firmly believed in the presence of angels. He recommended that all the faithful cultivate an intimate relationship with their guardian angel, praying to them daily and seeking their guidance. In his writings and speeches, he spoke about the importance of these celestial beings in our life journey, and how modern humanity, so distracted by the noise of the world, needed to relearn how to listen to the whispers of heaven. There are also stories of soldiers on the battlefield who saw mysterious figures protecting them, of drivers who narrowly escaped fatal accidents after feeling an invisible force pull them away or steer them to safety, of children pointing into empty space and saying innocently, "Look, Mummy, the angel." These are testimonies of a real presence that, although not always visible, manifests with power and tenderness. These signs are not merely comforts. They are invitations, calls to rekindle our faith, to remember that our struggle is not just physical but spiritual. That evil does exist, yes, but goodness is infinitely stronger and more active. And that angels sent by God are all around us, attentive and ready to act whenever we open our hearts and cry out for help. Today, more than ever, we need to hear these stories. We need to remember that life does not end in what can be seen, that there are battles being fought in the invisible, and that our prayers, our repentance, our sincere surrender have a real impact in this spiritual realm. When we listen to these stories, our soul is lifted. Something within us awakens. It is the echo of the eternal saying, "You are not alone." If this video touched your soul, leave a comment telling us what moved you most. Have you ever felt the presence of an angel? Have you had any unexplainable experience? Share it with us. Your story might touch other lives, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, join us now. Here, faith is nourishment, the word is comfort, and the community is a refuge. May God abundantly bless you, and may your spiritual eyes always remain open to perceive heaven's action in your life.